Sweet. I'm Lane. I'm super thrilled to be here. This is my 4th ETH Denver, I think. And for how many first-timers do we have? Anyone here first time to ETH Denver? All right. Those of you who have been here before, you know what you have in store for you. For those of you for whom this is your first time, get pumped because this is the best week of the year in the Ethereum calendar. So, all right, let's have fun. I know this is officially a workshop, but given limited time and also, as many of you have probably noticed, less than amazing internet, I'm just going to do a quick high-level walkthrough of the Spacemesh team and project and protocol, and I'll save some time for questions. So what is Spacemesh? We are building a novel layer 1 cryptocurrency blockchain platform, smart contract platform with some pretty cool differentiating features, which I will walk you guys through. We're a very values-driven project, which is why we talk about conviction a lot. We are decentralization and permissionlessness maximalists. Sorry, let me just keep an eye on the time. All right. So we are targeting having 1 million nodes on the network. I know that sounds like a very large number, but I'm going to explain how we intend to do that. And the protocol is custom built and custom designed. We are not using proof of work. We're not using proof of stake. We're using something called proof of space-time that allows us to do some really fun things with mining, making mining from home easier and more cooperative. So the things that we believe in are a low barrier to entry. I will walk you guys through in a moment how we enable home mining and make it as fast and easy as possible. Unlike proof of work style protocols, we have no race in block production. So we remove kind of this leader election that happens actually in proof of work and in proof of stake as well. We are all about fair reward distribution for home miners. We have a network topology. So the space in Spacemesh refers to hard drive space, which I'll explain in a sec, and the mesh part refers to the mesh topology. So we have many blocks produced by many miners at each layer, which gives us a natural high throughput, which we're very excited about without sharding, without layer 2 stuff. Of course, that's all important as well, and we'll have those also. And the protocol is designed to be provably incentive compatible. We have brilliant chief scientists and a 100-page technical white paper, which I encourage you to read if these things are interesting to you. So, okay, the first and most important differentiating factor is this proof of space-time, right? So what is this and how does it work? Well, every layer 1 consensus mechanism requires that miners commit a scarce resource to the network to participate in the mining process and assert their eligibility. So of course, in the case of proof of work, like Bitcoin and the existing Ethereum network, that is CPU cycles or GPUs or ASICs. In proof of stake, of course, the scarce resource is the stake itself committed to the protocol. Our approach uses free disk space. So the idea is any device you have with a little bit of hard drive space, call it 100 gigabytes of free space, these laptops all have a terabyte or more these days, will allow you to commit that space to the Spacemesh protocol, and it's very easy on the CPU and the memory and stuff. You just need to have that free hard drive space. You keep it running in the background and begin earning tokens. Proof of space is inherently more environmentally friendly than proof of work. In this respect, it's like proof of stake, right? Because you're not spinning the CPU and using a lot of electricity to mine. However, unlike proof of stake, proof of space-time, like proof of work, sorry, I know this is confusing, is permissionless, right? And the thing about a protocol like proof of stake is that you need to first acquire a stake in the network. You need to find someone to sell it to you or buy it on an exchange or something. In proof of work and in proof of space-time, you can just turn on a machine and just start mining. You don't need any credit card, you don't need to buy any tokens or acquire them. The protocol is totally credibly neutral, right? Which means that for every unit of space you commit to the network, you receive proportionally more reward in the network. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are or how much, how do I put it, expertise you have. Yeah, so let's keep going. So how do we make mining easier for home miners? So it's a very unique approach to mining, which, as I said, is cooperative. So rather than having so let's rewind a little bit. In proof of work, you have, of course, many miners around the world and many mining pools racing to produce the next block. So there's a race there. And in proof of stake, it changes it a little bit where you have a pool of eligible miners and you have an algorithm, part of the consensus mechanism, that selects a single miner to produce the next block at each time slot. So so proof of space-time is a very different approach where many miners are eligible at every layer. We call them layers because we have many blocks in each layer. So you could think of this as being 50 miners or 100 miners are actually eligible to produce a block in each layer. And then the protocol sort of takes these proposal blocks and combines them together into a single block. And so what does this mean? Well, it means that you don't, as a home miner, as a non-whale, as a minnow miner, I guess, you don't need to join a mining pool. If you try, of course, to mine Bitcoin or Ethereum today or Chia, which is a protocol some of you may be familiar with, as a home miner, without joining a pool, you're going to receive one reward every 10 years or something like that. But with Spacemesh, because of this design, you'll actually begin receiving rewards immediately in the first epoch. An epoch is, you can think of it as about 2 weeks long. So each miner, because of this structure, receives rewards without joining a pool. And we think that's very important. It's very fair to home miners. And we get this inherent scalability. I mentioned this before because we have many, many blocks in each layer. So rather than, like, if you think of Bitcoin, if you want to double the number of transactions, you have to double the block size. In Spacemesh, you actually don't have to do that. It grows logarithmically in the size of the throughput because you can just have a few more miners producing blocks. And the reason we say it's zero cost for home miners is because, again, if you already have hardware, if you have any kind of commodity grade laptop or desktop computer, we're working primarily with gamers right now because they have more than adequate hardware. It really is next to no cost. The bandwidth cost is very minimal, the CPU cost is very minimal. You just keep a background process running. And just to show you how straightforward it is, this is our Spacemesh application, affectionately known as SMAP. We have a lot of fun terminology in the Spacemesh world. Our miners are called smeshers. Smeshers are running SMAP. And so this is literally, it's as simple as it looks. You download this application. It's available for Mac, for Windows, for Linux. You double click it. The setup process takes about 60 seconds. There's a wizard. You kind of click through 2 or 3 things. You say which hard drive you want to use and how much space you want to allocate. And that's it. You start mining. It couldn't be easier. You don't need to use the command line. You don't need to worry about background processes or anything fancy. If you're familiar with a protocol like Chia, there's no complicated plotting process. It all kind of happens very seamlessly inside this application. And I'll give you a link at the end of the presentation where you can download the app and join the testnet. This is a $200 Chromebook. This is my favorite slide in this presentation. I have one of these at home. Probably like $150 these days. And I successfully got this device to download the app and run it and join the Spacemesh network and mine successfully. I left it running for a month. This thing has, I think, 2 gigabytes of memory. It's probably got 64 gigabytes of hard drive space. It's got one crappy Intel Celeron CPU or something like that. And I'm trying to reemphasize the point that, like, really, you can do this on any device. It won't work yet on phones or Raspberry Pis, but it will in the near future. So our vision is cheap devices, commodity hardware, whatever you've got, plug it in and start mining and start earning rewards. We also care a great deal about the economics of the protocol. I'm really proud of this work. It's been, I'll show you a slide in a second to show you what the economics looks like. And it may look simple, but aligning interests here and working with investors and core team and community members to produce an economic plan that's sustainable over the long term is a big part of my motivation for this project. It's something I'm very proud of and very excited about. So we have adopted an issuance function that looks a lot like Bitcoin, which is to say you have a smooth exponential decay. But as I'm sure everyone here is aware, Bitcoin has this 4-year half-life, this 4-year halvening thing that happens. And so we kind of took that curve, we smoothed it out, and we increased the length of the half-life a great deal. It's, I think, 38, 39 years, almost 40 years, something like that. So we will continue to issue tokens for hundreds of years. And this is a big deal, right? Because with a lot of existing protocols, if you don't get in the first year or 2 or 3 years, the amount of rewards left on the table for folks who become aware of it later is very limited. This is a really, really key part of my motivation. I think that this is, Spacemesh is here for the long term, and we understand that people will be joining this project and creating value for the protocol for many, many years to come. So yeah, this is what the issuance looks like. The blue curve is Bitcoin, and as you can see, this is over 200 years. So it's a bit compressed, but Bitcoin issuance happens relatively quickly. We're at something like 80, 85%, maybe 90% of the Bitcoin that will ever be issued has already been issued. And in the case of Spacemesh, the issuance goes on for hundreds of years. So again, I'm really excited about this and really proud of this. So I'll talk briefly about the culture. We are hiring for pretty much every role. I'm sure many of the projects here are today, and hopefully some of you guys out there are thinking about taking the plunge and joining the blockchain, cryptocurrency, Web3 ecosystem full-time. This is the best possible time to do it, so I highly encourage you to do it. And if you want to chat afterwards about Spacemesh or about any other kind of projects or ecosystems, I'm always happy to chat. My DMs are also open on Twitter. So yeah, so we're first and foremost extraordinarily values-driven. There tend to be, well, how do I put this? This was my motivation for switching gears from working on other projects I worked on and joining the Spacemesh team. We really believe in this vision for blockchain and cryptocurrency being a really transformative social technology, which is why we emphasize the economics so much. We're a very high trust team. We're a small but focused team, global. I'm sure most teams are global at this point, so we have folks across many, many different time zones. I have to emphasize this flat and open. I mean, I feel a little bit silly saying this in this audience because I know that DAOs tend to be very open and most crypto projects, relatively speaking, are quite open and quite flat and not very hierarchical. But I think even within the kind of Web3 ecosystem, Spacemesh is extraordinarily flat, and everyone has equal say in the project, and we really kind of don't do like titles and things like that. So it's a really exciting, collaborative, kind of academic project to be a part of. So yeah, this is just a short list of some of the roles we're hiring for. Many technical roles, Golang developers, Rust developers, DevOps type stuff, Electron. So the app I showed you a moment ago is a front-end JavaScript Electron application. Yeah, again, if any of these are interesting to you, please reach out. Would love to chat more. If you know anyone, send them our way. So this is some URLs you can go to learn more. So spacemesh.io is our primary website. If you go to chat.spacemesh.io, that will take you to our Discord. We have a very active community on Discord. And testnet.spacemesh.io will take you to download the app I showed you a moment ago and join the testnet. And as I said, you can do that on anytime, any device. Just make sure you have a stable internet connection. So maybe don't do it in this room. Yeah, that's all I've got. Again, I'm Lane. I'm Rettig, L-R-E-T-T-I-G on Twitter. And I think we may have a couple minutes left for questions. So if you have any questions about Spacemesh, feel free. Thank you.